चलिए बच्चों, ये कुछ इंपॉर्टेंट मल्टीपल चॉइस क्वेश्चंस को देखते हैं और डिस्कस करते हैं। आशा हूं आप लोगों को यहाँ पे स्क्रीन पे जो क्वेश्चन मैं आपसे डिस्कस करना चाह रहा हूं वो आपको दिख रहा होगा। मैं कुछ देर के लिए अपने आप को छिपा लेता हूं ताकि आप लोग ये स्क्रीन को अच्छे से देख पाए। तो चलिए बच्चों, स्टार्ट करते हैं पहले क्वेश्चन से। चलिए देखते हैं बच्चों, क्वेश्चन को देखते हैं थोड़ा सा। A student poured 100 ml of water in a bottle and added 40 ml of vinegar to it. Now please understand here, it is the matter of adding water, that is your H2O, into vinegar, that is your CH3COOH. This is also known as acetic acid. We also call it ethanoic acid. Dear student, please mind well that this CH3COOH, when we add it into the water, it produces two ions, CH3COO minus and H3O plus. We take generally the aqueous solution of CH3COOH. We add liquid water to it, we will get the ions into the aqueous state. Thus, this H3O plus is obtained by the reaction of H2O with H plus. This particular reaction, if you look at, it is the combination reaction. That is what you can easily understand, my dear students. This is the combination reaction. And this particular reaction, we call it as a dissociation or ionization. It can be considered as a dissociation, my dear students, or ionization. And this is how we can understand. Please remember that a substance that produces H plus or OH minus, a substance that produces H plus or H3O plus is acid, and thus from the name itself we can say it is an acid. So this is how we can say that CH3COOH is an acid. And it produces H plus or H3O plus. Now this is the basic or fundamental idea that you should know about after listening to this statement. Now let's move forward. A balloon was filled with 20 gram of baking soda and was fixed at the mouth of the bottle. So now you can see here that there is a balloon. You can see there is a balloon which was having baking soda into it. Let me tell you about the baking soda. Baking soda is nothing but your baking soda is your NaHCO3, which is also known as sodium bicarbonate. It is also known as sodium hydrogen carbonate. And please remember, my dear students, that whenever this acid and metal carbonate or metal bicarbonate, acid plus metal bicarbonate will give us the salt, then water, then CO2 gas. So when this acid CH3COOH and NaHCO3 reacts with each other, they produce carbon dioxide gas. That is what we understand. So here you can see that we have a vinegar. This vinegar is nothing but CH3COOH. Then we have NaHCO3. Both this NaHCO3 and CH3COOH reacts with each other. Let us show their reaction here. See, acid is your CH3COOH. Your metal carbonate is NaHCO3. It produces CH3COONA plus H2O plus CO2. CO2 is in the gaseous form, H2O is liquid, this is aqueous form. This is how the reaction takes place. So now when the vinegar reacts with the baking soda, it produces carbon dioxide gas, and due to the production of the carbon dioxide gas, here the carbon dioxide gas is filled into the balloon, and the size of balloon, you can see that it increases. Now let's move forward and let us see what the question tells us. Slowly the shape of the balloon changes as shown here. You can see that the change of the balloon is being changed. The student claims that the chemical change happened when two substances were mixed. The student claims that there is a chemical change that happened. Is the claim made by the student correct? What was the reaction between CH3COOH and NaHCO3 to produce the salt CH3COONA and production of water and production of CO2 gas? Is it a chemical change? Is it a chemical change? So then, like in this particular case, we need to study, we need to understand, my dear student, what is a chemical change. So let us look at and understand what is a chemical change. What is chemical change? Now the change, my dear student, the change number one, which is not reversible, and second, new substance is produced during the change. Such change we call it as the chemical change. So what is the answer? The change in which is not reversible, and if a new substance is produced during the change, such a change is chemical change. So here, my dear students, when this reacts with each other, when these substances, you know, this CH3COOH and water we were having, from this the new substance CH3COO, sorry, not water, but it was not water, but my dear students, we had NaHCO3. So we get CH3COONA, H2O and CO2. These all three are new substances. And that is why it is a chemical change. Yes. This means this reaction is a chemical change. And this is how, my dear students, we truly understand that it is a chemical change. So, my dear students, we can understand that this, whatever the reaction took place is a chemical change. Now, let us look at the various options. Yes, as a new substance was formed in the form of gas. Yes, as the mass remains the same throughout the experiment. Now this, as the mass remains same throughout the experiment, is according to the law. Which law? It is the law which is known as the law of constant proportion or law of conservation of mass. But law of conservation of mass doesn't have anything to relate with the chemical change or physical change. And when they say no, that means they are the wrong options, because yes, it was definitely a chemical change. And thus, my dear students, we can say that the correct option is option A. Yes, a new substance is formed, and that is why it is a chemical change, and that is why the correct option is option A. So, my dear students, with all this kind of knowledge, by using all this knowledge, by using all this information, we can come to a conclusion, and then we can answer the question. So you should have the previous knowledge before answering any question. Now, if you have any doubt, you can ask into the comment section. Let's move to the next question. That is your question number 2. What does the question number 2 says? Let me read for you. A student makes a list of some activities he observes one day. Now, what are the activities? Baking a cake in an oven, cutting an apple pie into slices, crushing the can after drinking a soda, carving a wooden log to make a stand. And what is the question? My dear student, the question asks us that which activity can the student classify as a chemical change? Now, my dear students, when we study these various activities, let us look at first one, baking a cake in an oven. So, my dear students, when you have baking a cake, when you prepare cake, you have baking soda. You have baking soda. Again, your baking soda is NaHCO3. Now, my dear students, when NaHCO3 undergoes the process of heating, my dear students, we get Na2CO3 plus H2O plus CO2. H2O is in the vapor form and CO2 is gas. This gas, CO2 gas, helps the cake to become spongy. So the cake, due to CO2, cake becomes smooth and spongy. So please remember, this is the change where we heat, and as it is heated into the oven, there is a new substance formed, or there are new substances formed, and that is why definitely this is a chemical change. But when we cut apple, see the pieces of apple pie into slices, the apple pie remains the same. Here we can say that there is no new substance formed, my dear students. No new substance formed. Same way, crushing the can after drinking a soda. If you crush the can and throw it away, there is no new substance formed into that case. Even carving a wooden log to make a stand. जब हम लकड़ी में से लकड़ी का स्टैंड बनाते हैं, वो स्टैंड लकड़ी का ही होता है. लकड़ी चेंज होके कोई और नई चीज नहीं बना देती. So when we carve a wood to make a stand, the wood remains the wood only. Wood does not change, or the composition of wood does not change. So again, my dear students, here the new substance has not been formed. And that is why, my dear students, using our knowledge, we can say that baking a cake into an oven is a chemical change. And that is why activity 1 is the chemical change, because the property of substance in the mixture change, But in activity 2, the physical state of the apple pie changes when it cut. This is wrong because apple pie remains as apple pie. Activity 3, as the shape can changes. This is even wrong. And activity 4, as the shape and size of the wooden chain changes. But please, my dear students, understand that the wood remains the wood. Here the apple pie remains the apple pie. No new substance is formed. Same way, my dear students, here the crush, after crushing, the composition of cane does not change. The composition of cane does not change. And thus, my dear students, only activity A is considered as a chemical change. Now, my dear students, we have one more question to look at. Let us look to the next question. Sodium and chlorine are reacted as a result. Sodium and chlorine are reacted as a result. Sodium chloride is formed, which is also called the table salt. What option gives the reactants and products of the reaction? So please pay attention, my dear students, that sodium reacts with the chlorine, that gives sodium chloride. If we write it in the form of a chemical or with the formulas, my dear students, we can write it in this way, that we have sodium, that is 2, that reacts with Cl2, that gives us 2NaCl. Now this side, left side, my dear student, the left side represents the reactants. These are the reactants. These are the products. This arrow represents the direction of the reaction. Please remember, my dear students, that we generally compare the reaction with this arrow. On the left side of arrow, that is LHS, they are reactants. On the right side of the arrow, that is your RHS. RHS is product and LHS are the reactants. So let us have a look to this, my dear students. Reactants, we have sodium, and product we have chlorine. This is wrong. Reactant, there are two reactants, sodium and chlorine, and there is only one product, that is sodium chloride. Reactant, sodium and table salt. This sodium chloride is also known as table salt, my dear student. And it is product, so it is not a reactant. So this is even wrong. Third, reactants, table salt. No, table salt is product. Product, sodium and chlorine. No, sodium and chlorine both are reactants. And then the last option, my dear student, that is sodium. Reactants are sodium and chlorine. This is absolutely correct. And products is sodium chloride or table salt. So this is very correct, and that is why the correct option is option D. Please remember, my dear students, that our table salt has various names. Table salt is also known as a sodium chloride. Table salt is also known as common salt, or it is also known as simply salt. And its chemical formula is NaCl. So my dear students, when we look at this sodium chloride is the chemical name. This NaCl is the chemical formula for table salt or common salt or salt. And these two, along with this one, this two, and this three, this 1, 2, and 3 are known as common names, or they are known as trivial names. So this is how, my dear students, we understand it. Now we have the next question. The images, let us pay attention to the next question, my dear student. The image shows some chemical reaction. H plus Cl, that gives HCl. 2H plus O2, that gives 2H2O. Now, my dear students, we have a question. Which option identify the reactants and products of the reaction? So here you can see that in this case we have reactants H and Cl, whereas product is HCl. In this particular case, my dear students, we have reactants H and O2, and then, my dear students, we have product H2O. Let me underline the products with some different color and the reactants with some different color, my dear students. You can see here the reactants have been underlined with the different color and the products are being underlined with the different colors. So we have the reactants HCl and O2, and we have the products HCl and H2O. Now let's look at this. Option number A. In the reactants we have H and Cl, but HCl is not the reactants. In the products we have HCl and H2O, so H2O is correct, but these two are the not products. Let's move forward. HCl is not the reactants, H2O is not the reactants, H and Cl and these are not the reactants. Same way in the reactant section, HCl, 2H and O2, yes, these are the reactants, and HCl and H2 are the products. If you look into this 2H and O2 and H2, H2 is not the reactants and H and Cl are not the products. So option C is the correct answer, my dear students, and this is how we understand. Dear students, if you have any doubt, you can ask me. You can ask your doubts into the column which is known as the column, and this column, my dear students, comment section, you can ask your doubts. Now, my dear students, I have the next one. So let us look at the question, dear students. Let me read the question for you. A student performs an experiment to form aluminium chloride from aluminium and chlorine. Which option gives the chemical equation for the reaction? So first, my dear students, let us write the statement. What is the statement, my dear student? Statement says that aluminium chloride is formed from aluminium and chlorine. Aluminium chloride is formed from aluminium and chlorine. So if we write the skeletal equation, my dear student, skeletal equation, we will write aluminium and chlorine, Cl2 reacts with each other, and aluminium chloride has got formula AlCl3. Now how do we write AlCl3? So aluminium ion, let me take you to the whiteboard, my dear students. Here we have been studying about the how to write the formula for aluminium chloride. That is what I am going to explain you. So please pay attention. We are going to understand the formula to write aluminium chloride. Let's pay attention. So we have aluminium chloride. For that we have aluminium ion. And then we have chloride ion. This is aluminium ion. Aluminium ion we write as Al plus 3. Chloride ion we write as a Cl minus. So when we write the charges, here the charge is +3 and here the charge is -1. If we remove the sign, my dear students, we have the charge as a 3 and 1. Now if we take the LCM of 3 and 1, that is equal to 3. So we'll write LCM here. So here we shall write 3, here we shall write 3. Let us make a box here and then we'll write there what are the numbers that we multiply this number or this charge so that we get the LCM. So 3 multiplied by what so that we can get 3? So the answer is 1. 1 multiplied by 3 so that we get 3. In that case, my dear students, now we should take the same number of ions that we put into the box. So my dear students, we need aluminium 1 and chlorine we need 3. So the formula for aluminium chloride the formula for aluminium chloride we can write is as a AlCl3. Now let's get back to again, my dear students, the question that we have been studying. So here we can write the formula of aluminium chloride as AlCl3. So now, my dear students, we want to balance this equation. If we want to balance the equation, we can see that we have only one aluminium, we have 2 Cl, and then we have here 1 Al. Here, my dear students, we have Al only 1. Al1 and Cl is 3. Now you can see that here we have 2 Cl and here we have 3 Cl. To balance both of them, my dear students, first I will multiply this Cl2 with 3. So I shall write it this way: Al plus 3 Cl2. This is how I get AlCl3. Now if I look at Cl2, I have 6 Cl2 and here I have 3 Cl. To balance both of them, I need to multiply this AlCl3 with 2. So now I should write it this way, my dear student, that now I shall write it as a Al plus 3 Cl2, that I will get a 2 AlCl3. Now I have 3 to the 6 Cl. So Cl is 6 here, Cl is 6 here, but I have 2 Al here. I have 2 Al here, but I have only 1 Al here. So I need to multiply this 1 Al with 2. So now finally I can write the balanced chemical equation, that is 2 Al plus 3 Cl2, that gives 2 AlCl3. Now let us find out which one is same as this balanced chemical equation. No, 3Al, no, 2Al, 3Cl2, yes, this is correct. This is even wrong and this is even wrong. So option C is correct, and then we can say that our option C is the correct option. So this is how, my dear student, we understand the balancing of chemical equation and we can find out the correct option.